neighbor.
I'm Hannah Magee.
And I'm Isabella Riley. Today, I check in on a campus student to discuss self-care during quarantine and how we can all take care of ourselves.
Then I speak with the men's basketball players about their Sun Belt victory. Plus, Derek Gagnier is back in the studio to speak with me and Professor Teresa Lee about their upcoming performances. Join us as we say,
Hi, neighbor.
Hi, neighbor. My name is Isabella Riley, and today I have the pleasure of virtually interviewing Christian Rodriguez, who's a sophomore here at Appalachian State University. How are you doing today, Christian?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me today.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for being here. So today's topic is about COVID-19 and self-care. So can you tell our viewers any self-care techniques that you have been doing during the time of the pandemic?
Of course. So recently, about a week and a half ago, I contracted COVID. Well, not a week and a half ago. I just got done about a week and a half ago with my isolation, but I did have COVID for a time span of about 10 days. I had to isolate here in my room alone. It was pretty hard the first couple of days with having like a high fever and stuff, but things that I found that helped me a lot was listening to music, opening my window. Of course, I needed to have like some form of like natural therapy. So on some days I even walked outside to my backyard. We have like this amazing mountain view, and I'd set up my out there, read a couple pages of my book that I'm have right here, read a couple of those pages, and I would just sit out there and take a big breather that I needed. I mean, if you really don't do that, you might even go insane in your room. But those are some of the things that I was doing.
Yeah, that must have been hard being isolated, especially in a space such as your room, where I know you couldn't go into your outside into your apartment, such as your kitchen, because your roommates didn't contract COVID. Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah, so I know you said going outside, especially during these last few rainy days. What can individuals do inside their home for self-care during a pandemic?
So inside, I asked one of my roommates to actually go get me a stress relieving, like one of those aromatherapy candles. So I had one of those blowing, but I would distract myself with some homework, honestly, because I had nothing better to do other than maybe laying down, and that itself was just so boring. So other things you could do: pop Netflix on your TV, watch a couple movies throughout the day. You're gonna have so much free time. Practice some meditation in the mornings. Do maybe 10-15 minutes of that'll definitely get your mind going in the morning.
Yeah, do you recommend any Netflix shows or movies?
Ooh, one movie I did watch was I Care a Lot. That one was about like these two people who just kept screwing each other over. Like there was this one Russian mafia boss that they basically faked their deaths and then moved to America and then had this rich lifestyle. But then there was this one therapist who like took care of older people, and then she was like basically waiting for them to die to get all their money, sell their belongings. But she actually encountered the mom of one of these Russian mafia bosses and tried to screw her over. But that was a pretty good show that I liked. Movie, not a show.
So I know you talked about a lot of self-care techniques that you did when you had COVID. Is there anything that you're going to continue doing since we are still in the pandemic, self-care wise?
Definitely. So the first couple of days I was just like sticking to my bed as soon as I woke up, but then like maybe on day 3, day 4, I was still feeling symptoms, but I was like, dude, just get up, go take a shower, and then come back in my room. I got this nice desk now, so I was just sit here. So definitely, if you are isolating, get right up as soon, even if you feel kind of bad, get up, get your body going, and that's definitely gonna brighten up your day just a little bit right off the bat.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to share your experience with us and inspiring our viewers to really put those self-care techniques into their daily lives, especially if they happen to come in contact with someone with COVID or get COVID themselves.
Right. It was my pleasure, and thank you for having me today.
All right, you have a great day.
Bye.
All right, so you guys heard it here from Hi Neighbor. If you have COVID and you have to isolate, make sure that you are practicing self-care techniques because those 2 weeks in isolation can be brutal. Until next time, bye neighbor.
Two more App State theater performances are right around the corner. The Best of Appalachian Dance Ensemble and With Two Wings are the next masterpieces provided by the App State Theater Department. I have Professor Derek Gagnier with me to discuss these performances in depth. Thank you so much for being here, Professor Derek.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. If you could just talk a little bit first about how the dance area has adapted to this new world that we're living in with COVID-19.
Yeah, well, with the concert coming up, that had to have some really big changes made. But, you know, for them to have a class, they have to be socially distanced. So they took down the number of students per studio. But I was talking with a ballet professor who said, you know, we space them 6 feet apart on the bar, and they move around, and movement is more limited. But in order to do this concert, they had to come up with a way to safely do a dance piece, and it was decided they would take clips. Since we record all the concerts on video, they decided to take their favorite, so it really is the best of through their eyes, but their favorite, and they have 7 pieces from 7 different choreographers, and there's 3 of our design tech professors involved as well, and a whole bunch of students that are in the pieces. So it was neat how they've adapted that. And obviously it'll be broadcast one night instead of several, but it's at least getting out there and not something, you know, not a big hole in the wall anymore, right?
Yeah.
We've got dance happening, so.
Absolutely. Just on the flip side of that, how's the theater department been handling the new COVID world as well?
Well, as you know, you've been participating, as
Yeah.
you know, and we've tried to do an attempt at a live theater event that's recorded and happening, and it's tricky because as safe as we are, I directed a show. We had 6 feet distance, people in masks when they weren't talking. They would unmask when they did, but someone got accidentally exposed. One of their housemates walked through, tested positive, so we had to take it, not do it live, but use the recording of the dress rehearsal and broadcast that. And we kind of had to project someone in on the big screen in the Valborg now because they were exposed. So we're getting better, we're getting more clever. We just had one online that had people in different rooms of the building. It was, this is not the play.
Yeah.
And that sort of worked a little bit better. We're getting closer and closer to figuring it out, but hopefully they'll say we can go
Yeah.
and we'll be allowed to have people in the theater again.
Well, just thinking about it, we were kind of the first to ever try and do anything with Zoom. No one had really done it before
Right.
with doing any sort of theater,
Right.
so you just have to adapt as you go.
Well, funny story, I got contacted by 2 professors in a 2-year college in California that wanted the rights to our production of Dracula.
Wow.
And then people as far away as New York City have seen some of our productions of the COVID Chronicles. A lot of my friends said, hey, you guys are doing great work. We're like, wow. So
Yeah.
people are watching it and it does mean something. It isn't live in your face all the time, but we'll get there.
Yeah. Staying positive.
Yeah.
The 2021 Spring Appalachian Dance Ensemble is virtual, right?
It is virtual. You can register at the Turchin Center, or I mean, the Schaefer Center, schaefercenter.org, or you can go on our website, which is theateranddance.appstate.edu, and click on the ticket. And what they do is the day before, they'll send you a link, and then an hour before the production, they'll send you another link just to make sure you've got it. And then you click on it and you watch the concert.
Awesome.
Yep.
Whose works are going to be featured?
Well, you'll see Regina Gulick. I knew these people beforehand, and now I'm picturing them in at least Sam Hagen, Laurie Atkins, Emily Daughtridge, to name just a few. What's cool is the styles range from modern to jazz to ballet to African-themed dance. So when you're watching this, you're going to get through these 7 pieces a whole different perspective each time. And of course, the designers are John Marty and Mike Helms on lights, and then Sue Williams did the costumes for the pieces. So it's kind of a whole group effort
Yeah.
on top of all the student dancers.
That's awesome. Thank you very much,
Sure.
Professor Derek, for sitting down with me today. But that's not all. Up next, Professor Derek sits down with Professor Teresa Lee.
Hello and welcome to Theater and Dance Today. Professor Derek here, and I'm in the studio with Teresa Lee, who's a professor of theater and one of my good colleagues. She is directing With Two Wings, which is the next offering from the Appalachian Young People's Theater. And the Appalachian Young People's Theater is actually having 49th anniversary coming up.
49 years.
Now, Teresa has not been there the entire time, but
lot
good
of it.
chunk.
Yeah.
So this is coming up in April, and we had to modify how we present it for COVID, so I want to talk about that. But I want to talk about the play, which is an award-winning play by Anne Negri, correct?
It's a fairly recent play. It's not a known title that anybody would recognize because it's a new play. It's actually inspired kind of an adaptation of the Icarus myth, Icarus and Daedalus myth. But it's got a contemporary twist and a nice family message.
So the setting is sort of a magical woods
It is.
where people with wings live.
That's right.
You get to say this on TV. People with wings live.
It is. It's not to be confused with people playing birds. It's actually people who have wings. That is part of who they are. They are these kind of fantastical people. The setting is actually an island, and this is like the kind of the woodsy, secluded part of the island where a family lives.
Right, and the main character is a young man.
The main character, yes, is a boy named Life, L-Y-F. And there's quite a bit of parallel with the Icarus myth, with the boy going up and being warned not to fly too close to the sun because he'll get his wings burned, or if he flies too low to the ocean, he might fall into the ocean. So he's cautioned to fly the middle path.
Right.
This is a very, very interesting play script because it's the author based it on her sister, who was a differently abled person, and her sister married a differently abled person, and they had a fully functional child. And so it's the author is sort of really kind of basing it on her nephew.
Neat.
Yeah, it's
Neat.
very in the mother in the play. The mother character is trying to protect her son and telling him he can't go out and fly. And then he's one day visited by this fun twin boy and girl, Meta and Tar.
Nice. And hijinks ensue.
And hijinks ensue.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and you could. I'm not going to give away the ending, but you can guess.
Well, without talking about the ending too much, this is aimed at young people.
That's right. We ordinarily, in the before days, we would put together a production and go out and tour elementary schools and community settings, and usually present a play for K through 6, sometimes 3 through 8, anything below 8th grade. So this play, I think, would probably play best for 2nd through 7th, something like that.
But
Yeah.
it sounds like there's enough there for the average college student tuning in.
There is, and it's also a wonderful way to see their peers doing theater in the age of COVID. We're having to perform with
Right.
masks,
Right.
but we are going to actually video record the whole performance next week, next Tuesday.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Which is why you got to get the wings done.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, we have 12 wings that we've been creating It's a wonderful program because it's all student created. The students designed and produced and built the sets, the costumes, and they're acting in it as well.
Well,
It's a self-contained company.
well, there you have it. Coming up next week, the Best of Appalachian Dance Ensemble opens Thursday, March 25th. It features works from 7 faculty choreographers. And you're going to have to hit our website at www.theaterandance.appstate.edu to register for the event. It is free, but it requires pre-registration. But that's not all. We were just talking about With Two Wings by Ann Negri. It hits the stage Friday, April 9th through Sunday, April 11th. Play set in a fantasy world where people have wings, and it's appropriate for all ages. That's all for today. I'm Professor Derek, and I hope to see you virtually at the theater.
That's all for this week's episode. Take care of yourselves, and we hope to see you all at the theater supporting our student body.
Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at AppTV for more student-made content. See you next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Until then,
Bye, neighbor.